we have got a TVT down at the bottom of the map. We have TSL Polt in the red. And up at the top right part of the map, there he is our blue Terran from the team IM. It is MVP. And what are these guys going to do? You know, Crossfire can be a map that produces some pretty long TVT if they both decide to go mech. But Polt lately has been the type of Terran player to try to go Marine tank, to try to go Marine Marauder tank.
He is super Marine tank oriented. He does not like mech play, and when talking with him about it,
oh yeah, that's right. We talked to him about this. Yeah.
You know, he says it's very hard to go mech. And it's just very true.
Yeah.
And you know that's the reason why a lot of players haven't switched over to mech yet. In my opinion, it's most clearly and most obviously the best style.
One thing we should mention too is that he said it's hard to go mech, but he also said, but I think that it's going to be mech versus mech as the standard in TVT in the future. So,
yeah.
You know, he said, I don't really like it right now, but I know that at some point all good Terrans are going to be going mech.
Well, I trust Polt's judgment. I think that mech is the best style, but it needs to be more developed by everyone right now.
Yeah.
We are going to see Polt go for a 1 barracks expand, whereas MVP is going with a normal gas timing.
You know, we do see some Terran players that are just so good at making Marine Marauder work. Slayer's MMA is a good example of that. Now in TVT, he is just so good about when to engage, so good about macroing, that he can beat the best Terran in the world. I'm MVP playing Bio versus mech. So some Terrans can do it. Don't think it's going to last forever, but it's interesting to see.
Well, on this particular map, I think that mech is absolutely the best style.
Yeah, definitely on this map, yeah.
You know, you can't really fight against tanks with Bio on this map. There's too many ramps. There's too many narrow choke points. You know, you could try to run around the entire map to avoid the mech, but I mean, then you're playing with fire. It takes way too long.
Speaking of differences, well, we weren't really talking about differences, but now we can be. We've got a factory going up for I'm MVP, whereas Polt is going into a pretty quick command center.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, he just went for the 1 barracks expand, and MVP is going for a very normal gas timing. However, he got a second gas, and I think we're going to see something we haven't seen all too much recently, which is Cloak Banshees. May very well see that.
Certainly could.
As that factory is finishing up, we'll see what he wants to add. Polt's second gas finishing there as well. Now, there we go, Tech Lab and the starport.
With the timing with this, Polt, you know, you're not dead, of course, if you go for a 1 barracks expand and your opponent goes Cloak Banshees. You can still defend it, but the things that make it difficult to defend is that you generally don't have Vikings, you generally don't have Stim for your Marines.
Yeah, and without those things, if your opponent has good micro, you're not going to kill his Banshees.
Yeah.
And if he does the Korean-style Banshee, which I was talking, there's a difference between Koreans and foreigners and how they do the Banshees, and there's a switch now. The foreigners are starting to be more Korean in this. Koreans use their Banshees to kill attacking units, whereas foreigners like to go for the workers. And in this case, MVP will absolutely go for the Marines and then follow up with a timing attack. If Polt looks like he has lost too many Marines, he will just go, oh, I'm not going to make a command storm, I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those Korean players, Nia's getting Cloak as well, a lot of those Korean players, you know, they start at the mineral line and then they see how, they kind of gauge how many Marines there are. If there's a lot of them, they just kind of poke in a little bit around the edges, but if there's not too many, they try to kill them all, like you're saying.
Yeah, what happens a lot of times is you get to the mineral line, a turret finishes there, and you go, okay, well, I'm just going to kill your tech lab, I'm going to kill your reactor, whatever, kill some of your Marines, and the Marines have to come, and then without good micro, especially if you have to use scans every time, you're just like, oh my god, I don't have a Viking, this is really bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, what Polt is doing right now, you know, if he really, really rushes for things, he could have a Viking in time. He's going to scan and see that. Oh, he doesn't see
man, he only sees the tech lab on the factory. That is a really bad indicator there.
Yeah, he may not really suspect this.
That just looks like Marine tank, man. He saw the reactor on the barracks as well.
Yeah, now will he make a Viking first, or will he try to go for some sort of delayed Banshee timing? Because we do see a lot of Terran players doing that as well.
I think he's absolutely going to make a Viking. He has to. He's got to be safe, you know, and making a Viking makes you safe against so many different things. And even if he's going for some crazy timing attack, the Viking itself can fight quite well by itself, you know, to hold off the low Marine count type of attack. So it's really smart for him to make that Viking first.
Well, this
and I
is the nice thing about this build on this map, is that if you really rush for that starport as fast as you can get the Viking out just in time. Look at this. The Banshee gets into the base, and the Viking is popping out right about now. So
you have to use scans, though.
Yeah, you still need to use a scan, but you feel a lot safer.
Energy just finished. Is he going to use it?
I don't know.
He wants to make sure he can kill the Banshee for sure, and that's not something I think he could be sure of.
No, you never can be.
There he goes. Scans it. Banshee should get away. Absolutely will.
Ooh, it does. Yep. Not even taking damage from that last volley because it got just out of scan range.
Yeah, man.
It's funny how that happens sometimes. The rockets hit it because it's invisible, quote unquote.
Yeah, they're just not. There needs to be an upgrade for those units so they can get heat-seeking abilities, so they can actually chase the unit without being able to have vision of it. Oh, he might actually corner that Banshee and get it. But meanwhile, a second Banshee comes in here, does have cloak. He's gonna have to scan again if he wants to take this out. And he's actually going for SCVs rather than going for attacking units in this case.
Yeah.
Not a common thing to see.
Well, he knows he can do a lot of damage to it. At the same time, he knows he can get away with the Viking, but it's a little bit difficult to get away from the Marines and the Vikings. Yeah. But still, the Marines don't have stim, so...
Polt's probably going to make a Raven here. Yeah, there it is on the production tab. He starts a Raven. He's got to make that so he can actually get aggressive on the map and also wants to be able to not use scans.
Well, MVP You'll notice is doing such a good job.
Yeah, he's microing so well.
Well, he's doing a good job of killing the SCVs on that gas. Normally, you don't want to target the SCVs on gas, but he's doing this to mess up Polt's build, and he's doing a good job.
And you know what? You'll notice that something that MVP, or rather Polt, did was he did not scan.
Oh.
He had scans, but he actually just did not scan because he said, you know what? Losing 2 SCVs is actually not as significant as using a scanner for a mule for the build I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to power up. I need that mule. So he actually just waited for those Banshees to run out of energy, and I actually really respect that because he knew a Raven was on the way as well. He's just actually like, I'm just going to drop the mules. What are you going to do? You actually have to run away because I know your cloak's running out. I could scan at any moment. You don't know that, so you can't actually kill everything. And I love that tenacity of Polt to say, I'm not going to scan. I'm just not going to do it. I like that, man.
Those Vikings are flying in a very dangerous way. It's dangerous.
This is the reason why tanks are so strong on this map. The watchtowers are so important to hold here as well. Yeah, because even if you don't have air control, if you have the tower, you have that vision that the Viking grants you.
And MVP does need to back up because of that siege mode as well. He doesn't have it quite yet. Oh, look at this. Polt himself is going for cloak as well. And that is interesting. Here comes MVP again, though, targeting down those mules. He's going to get, looks like 2 of them here. Is he going to get a third? Is he going to get anything else? Nope. Looks like that Banshee should get taken out. Yeah, he knows. He's just going to let it die.
Yep.
So the time of the Banshees for MVP is pretty much over, but for Polt, it's just beginning, and this can be kind of a weird timing to deal with, but it looks like MVP, yeah, he's building turrets at his mineral lines. He's going to be more than prepared for this.
He's got his own late cloak, something you were talking about earlier. Yeah. People like to get that late Banshee, get that cloak.
Now, yeah. Oh, bit of a fight here, and MVP needs to make a run for it, but he's still got a Banshee back in Polt's face doing some damage.
Oh no, and Polt's Banshee flies into a missile turret.
Oh. Ouch.
That Banshee cannot deal with the opponent's Banshee.
Banshee, man, doesn't work.
Fully scan.
Where's the scan? There it is.
But having to use a scan there on that Banshee, well worth
its
weight. Yeah, look at that, man. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at it.
Look at it. You can't look away. Just look. 20 workers killed.
20 workers. That's a lot.
Start. Yeah.
Stim finishing up a little bit faster here. Poor Polt.
Yep.
Uh-oh, taking a shell.
Yeah, now
I mean, positioning here. Remember that watchtower is so important.
Just gotta be careful. Banshees and Vikings can be pretty effective in pushing your opponent back into TVT.
Uh-oh, we're gonna miss the volley. Boom! It's a ton of Marines, and that was key there, man. That's actually, that might have been the nail in the coffin, man, because losing all those Marines means he cannot hold this much longer.
Loses a tank as well.
Uh-oh, that Viking's gonna be careful too, man. MVP is in a scary spot, even though he killed a ton of workers.
Yeah, well, he's still got a decent army. I mean, a lot of times these types of games go really back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, nice. He gets one of the Vikings.
We got the Viking. That is key.
Yeah.
Looks the Banshee still cloaks and is killing these tanks. Now he's killing a ton of the units of MVP. I think MVP might fall here, man.
I don't know. I think he's going to be able to push Polt back.
Oh, just like barely. Yeah, having a lot more reinforcing Marines.
Well, these types of games on this map usually are very back and forth. You know, one player pushes, the other one pushes him back. The other player pushes, the other player pushes him back.
Yeah, I didn't quite realize he had that many Marines back at his main base that he was able to flank with.
Now, what happens in these games a lot of times is that it's more of a battle of upgrades. You know, who can get the better upgrades at the better timings, and then one of the players eventually in a Marine tank game just makes a mistake, loses a few too many Marines, the other player just rolls it. That's kind of what happens in a lot of these situations. So
it's
now we're into that kind of upgrade part of the game.
Oh, part 2 of Polt flying Banshees in the turrets.
Yes, so yeah.
Well, the Viking control now goes to MVP, but still has not yet dealt with this Banshee. He's able to get just a few extra kills. Damage a refinery a little bit.
Oops.
Well, now MVP actually controls the center of the map. He controls the air as well. Polt has a worse SCV count, so Polt is in a tough spot. He's going to have to make something creative happen in order to win this game. And TVT is a matchup where if you make a huge mistake, if your opponent makes a huge mistake, rather, you can catch up. But if he does not, it's not going to be easy for Polt to suddenly just out-macro his opponent or take a third base. Especially on this map, he's not going to be able to easily gain control.
Yeah. Like any mirror matchup, if you get behind in workers, it's a serious problem because your opponent can always produce workers as fast as you can. So you're always going to be behind if they're on the same amount of bases in TVT.
Very true, very true.
Now here's one nice thing about MVP of it is he's getting his upgrades a little bit quicker than Polt is.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big deal in Marine Tank. It's kind of like I was talking about. It becomes a battle of upgrades, really.
It very much does. And when you have Marines fighting Marines, when there are very few tanks around, that really comes into play. I mean, if you have just +1 and your opponent doesn't, you just crush that Marine army so much better. Of course, the tank account is the most important thing, but when you have Marines fighting when tanks are on siege, for example, it's really important because if you wipe out that Marine count, Marines kill Marines so quickly. If you wipe out the Marine count before the tanks siege, the tanks are sieged up and there's no Marines to buffer, guess what? Marines are going to kill the tanks anyways.
Exactly, yeah.
It's really important to have a strong buffer.
MVP is taking a third here, which is pretty good. Oh, microing against that SCV. And here's the other thing that not a lot of Terran players are doing is dropping. It's surprising to say that, but not a lot of Terran players these days really do enough drops, I feel.
I agree. Well, he's going to kill so many SCVs with this. It's a double drop here. It's a pretty big commitment. He may actually kill the command center if he goes for it.
It's possible. I think
not targeting it, though.
Yeah, and the medevac's getting out of the way. Is he going to save many of the Marines? We'll see. Oh, he's going to lose one medevac, and the other one gets away.
Marines.
That Marine's like, hey, thought there were 2 medevacs there. Just tries to make him feel bad.
MVP taking the top left base now. Polt actually going to take the bottom right one. He started his command center, but MVP has got his command center up first. He can drop mules there if he likes. Everybody likes dropping mules. Who am I kidding?
I don't know. Protoss players aren't too big.
I don't know with that new replicant unit. I don't know. They might start like
they replicate mules? Yeah. You could do it, I guess, Wow, huge push by MVP. Takes on
and that's what I'm talking about. If you don't have any Marines to buffer, you can just kill tanks so quickly with those upgraded Marines.
Well, this is why drops are so good, too, because Polt had to pull back a lot of his Marines, and that let MVP have the advantage to get that position on the map. Yeah,
this is a really bad spot for Polt. He's lost his own Zeldon Watchtower.
Oh, Polt!
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
Oh.
Polt falling apart here by the looks of things. His command center is trying to be floaty. He actually decided to put it over here on the 9 o'clock location rather than the bottom right because, guess what? He doesn't even have control of his watchtower. How can he defend that base over there? How can he? He can't. He cannot. It's a trick question.
I'm just thinking about the implications of replicating mules now.
Oh, well, you'd have to, I think you would have to replicate, well, I don't know.
Because we'll talk about later. Oh, nice little drop from MVP. Oh, but the medevac gets taken down.
If you replicate an SCV and build a command center, then start dropping mules, and you like chrono boost your command center to make mules faster and stuff, or make SCVs faster.
Oh, here he goes. He's moving up. Not the best engagement for MVP, but he's just got so much stuff that it's not going to matter.
It's not going to matter. Those Marines are just going to buffer the shots for the tanks. GG.
And I'm MVP. Wins his first game in this group here. He is now 1-2.
And now Polt's 2-2. More importantly, now Polt is not tied in the running for first place. Assuming his opponents, if any of his opponents win, then Polt is not going to have that first place spot anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. We've got OGS MC versus StarTail Curious next. And if we look at their records, MC is 1-2. Curious is 2-1. So if MC wins this, we are going to have 3 players at 2-2. Should be kind of interesting, because then if Suho Shin wins his next game against MVP, he's going to be the clear leader 3-1, but if he loses, then him and MVP are going to be 2-2, and everybody in the group is going to be 2-2.
And then we'll just start over again.
So we'll have to see what happens. I'm eager to get this started.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I guess we can jump right into MC versus Curious here.
Let's slip and slide our way into the game.
I love to say it, man. I'm like, I always say jump into the game, and I'm like, that's my thing. I'll just keep saying it.
All right. I'll think of something at some point.
It's like Tasteless' thing of saying head-to-head at the GSL.
That's right. Yep. Well,
these guys are head-to-head, and let's jump into it.
Let's jump into this head-to-head right now.